Okay, let's stick within cotton, but now we're going to look at analytics. And analytics is really cool because it gives you an opportunity to compare varieties across both time and space in a really easy method. So what we're looking at here, and I've already selected these two data fields to start, lint yield and lint turnout. And what I'm going to do is I now have the option to look at all the varieties that are available in trial year 2020 across all of these different trial locations. And you can see they're grouped. You have short season, full season, you have dry and irrigated for each one of these research stations, as well as the on-farm information. And then here at the end, I've got my 2020 averages, as well as any 3-year averages where a variety has existed across multiple years. And you can change that multiple years by coming up here into analytics settings and changing the multi-year average right there. But what I can see here in this multi-year average is you have these Y and these L values. So the Y is going to be the number of years, and the L is going to be the number of locations that that data represents. So for example, in this average that I'm looking at here, for the top variety of 1204, that was only 1 year and averaged across a total of 15 locations. However, if I come down here to this entry of 1402, that is, I have data available across 3 years and 64 locations. So this gives you an indication as to how much data has been collected and what's represented in that multi-year average that you're looking at. So let's go ahead and say, come back here and let's pare this data down a little bit before I talk about what all of these colors mean. So we're looking at a lot of data here, but I'm only interested in irrigated data. So I'm going to come up here to filter, and I'm going to select a data field, and that data field is going to be environment. I'm going to set my environment to be irrigated, and then go ahead and click on filter. So now you go ahead and hide that. So what we're looking at here now is I'm only seeing the irrigated trial locations, and I've taken the dry ones out. And again, you still see your 2020 averages and your 3-year averages, but as you can see by our represented Y and L values that we've lost some of those locations, right? Because we took the dry out of there. So what am I looking at now? I'm just going to go with a 2020 average, and we're going to sort by that. And I'm going to click on this total data field, and now I'm sorting high to low. So what you're seeing here is anything that is green is going to be the maximum value in that trial set or in that column. And anything that is shaded blue is above average. And above average is calculated by using standard deviation. If you're not familiar with standard deviation, we utilize that to help determine how far away something is from the mean, and by calculating what are called z-scores. So we shade it based on your z-score. So anything that is above the mean is shaded in blue, and anything below is shaded in yellow. And then your min value here is red. So when you see red around here, that means that's the bottom value, the minimum value in the set. And when you see a green, that means that is the maximum value in the set. So it gives you some indication of how a variety is going to be performing relative to the mean in the trial that it was a part of. So this gives you a really good way to get a performance of a variety, again, across both time, right? We can have multi-year averages here, as well as space. So each one of these trial locations or grouped together in these trials. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to sort by my multi-year average here, and this will get us the top varieties for lint yield based on looking at multi-year data for irrigated across all of our locations. Now we've also pulled in lint turnout, and I can sort that the same way, where I'm looking at trying to get the maximum turnout percentage. And again, we're looking at data the same as we did, but they're going to be, the list of varieties are probably sorted a little differently, because you might get a high yielding variety that might not have the turnout percentage that you're looking for. So how do we take advantage of looking at both lint yield and lint turnout to get ourselves this variety that's going to be our top performer? Well, that's where total score averages comes into play. So what I'm looking at now is I've taken those z-scores that were calculated for both lint yield and lint turnout, and I've averaged them. You can adjust that weight if you want to, but by default there's a 1-to-1 average. And that is now giving me this new score that represents that variety across multiple data fields, across multiple locations, and across multiple years, simplified down to a single score that I can then do a comparison on and be able to select the varieties that are my top performers based on the data fields that I'm interested in. So for example, I'm interested in, let's say, these top 5 varieties here. I can go ahead and select those because they're the best ones that I have. And then I can come up here to compare, and this takes us right back to compare that we saw before. And so now I'm looking at, again, my lint yield, lint turnout, any of these other data fields. I can now easily compare these varieties and look at them side by side to try to determine what's going to be the best variety for me.